I've seen marriages that have lasted 1 month. And in fact, I represented someone, to be specific, in 1999, whose marriage lasted for 1 night. And he was denying that he never fathered the child arising out of that marriage, because they had sex only once on the night of the wedding, and that was the end of the marriage. I mean, this is I can give you the case and you look for it. So let me write down the protocol which I think the PRO outlined. Good morning to you all. It's afternoon, I think. Good afternoon to you all. We are gathered here not just to launch a book, but to witness the intellectual audacity of a man who refuses to remain silent in the face of society decay. Dr. Pius Bigirimana has once again taken up the pen, not as a bureaucrat, but as a custodian of social fabric. He mentioned something about marriages, breaking up. So one time I was a go-between, a young man who had just married, and we were going for an introduction in Kabale. When we arrived there, the go-between did not show up. So my colleague said, "Now what do we do?" I said, "No, I'm going to do that job." He said, "Surely you are a young man." I said, "Don't worry." So when we went, the nitty-gritty of a customary introduction, it can be complex. So when the other side, the man asked me, "How long, do you have experience in marriage?" I said, "Very much so." "How long have you been married?" "For 2 years. He didn't know that actually that was a right answer. I've seen marriages that have lasted 1 month. And in fact, I represented someone, to be specific, in 1999, whose marriage lasted for 1 night. And he was denying that he never fathered the child arising out of that marriage, because they had sex only once on the night of the wedding, and that was the end of the marriage. I mean, this is I can give you the case and you look for it. So I thank you, Pius, for writing about this subject, because I think you are going to save very many people. 1 night marriages are going to turn into lifetime marriages. To write about naked truth and now release part 2 of the same book requires a bravery that many in high offices shy away from. But as the author has reminded us before, it is the things we refuse to discuss in the light that eventually destroy us in the dark. I have no doubt in my mind that every one of us gathered here knows a broken home somewhere in our respective communities. The tragic results of broken homes are everywhere. At the bench, we all see it in the rising rates of divorce, in the bitter battles over custody of children, in the family inheritance and succession battles, and the delinquency of children who lack a stable foundation. I think, I don't know, the head of family division is not here, but if you are to look at the rise in statistics of divorce cases, it's worrying. When I remember for almost like my 5 years of legal practice, I handled only 1 divorce case, and even then, we never concluded it. What happened is that along the way, it appears the couple, their families intervened and they reconciled, but they never told us. So we would come in court every morning when the matter was coming up. Both counsel for counsel for the petitioner and the counsel for the respondent, we all have no clients. So as lawyers do, the best we would all lie that our clients are sick. You know, we normally use that, my client is indisposed. Since the other side also, the client was indisposed, so there was no reason not to adjourn. So we adjourned. I think we realized it was becoming notorious or monotonous. So I picked a phone call, and I called one of my client, who was actually more enlightened. And she said, this was a lady in Uganda, naye lawyer, lwaki temubireko ebintu ebyo? I mean, I felt embarrassed. So then I told my colleague, then my colleague said, but it appears my client also, he dodges me these days. So what we did, we adjourned the matter, signed, it was eventually, I think, dismissed. But you can see, for a long period, but now it's, I think in the family division, it's one of the biggest findings we are seeing. So Dr. Pius argues, and I concur, that the security of the state begins at the fireplace of the home. If the intimacy and spiritual interconnectedness of a marriage are fractured, the pillars of our nation tremble. This book is a continuation of the manual for preventative justice by addressing the root cause of domestic disharmony before they ever reach the steps of our courtrooms. So in other words, those who read this book, you may be having some intentions, and after reading it, maybe you improve your skills and you save the marriage. Both Naked Truth and Naked Truth Part 2 are a deliberate reclamation of our heritage. For too long, we have outsourced our understanding of human relationship to Western paradigms that do not fit our cultural soul. But now Dr. Pius invites us to look inward to the wisdom of our ancestors and the sacredness of the African Union. He challenges the youth to look beyond the superficial and find the treasures of a deep, committed, and spiritual alignment. This is not profanity, it is profundity. It is an essential conversation for a generation that is fast losing its moral compass. I think, colleagues, you believe me, that we no longer have time to talk to our children. When we were growing up, you would learn some of these things from your uncles, and the ladies would learn things from their aunties. Visiting bushes, they would lead you there. All that, you don't get it from aunties. These days, I don't know whether the bushes have disappeared because all the aunties have disappeared, but we have no time. Sincerely, we cannot have time for, to talk about these things. The fireplace used to be the common place for some of these conversations. If you're with your fathers, your uncles, they will tell you the nitty-gritty of how to handle a marriage. In fact, in our culture, especially during those days, first of all, you would get married when you are completely ignorant about sex. You've never done it because it was actually prohibited to do it before marriage. So you had to undergo tutorship. And I think in some traditions here, I'm told the auntie of your wife would come along, and if you are messing up, she would, because maybe, and Musisika and Sekana can tell us that if you are messing up, then she would say, no, that's not the right thing you are doing. So, but these days, that's no longer the case. So we really we have no time to talk to our sons, daughters, and teach them our ways. So Dr. Pius has done the work for us. So what you do, just tell your son, or just buy a book for And just when you reach home and you say, my son, I have bought for you something to read, here it is. Afterwards, ask me questions. Then you thank Pius later. So I emphasize now, like I will always do, that a nation that does not read its own authors is a nation without a mirror. When we quote Dr. Pius Bigirimana, we are not just praising a friend, we are validating our own intellect. By supporting local literature, we boost our national literacy and inspire a new generation of Ugandans to tell their own naked truth without fear or shame. When we are writing, I used to write in journal articles when I was still in academia, and the authors would be interested in the literature you have reviewed. What literature, what new aspect are you bringing on board? In fact, I remember I wrote one paper which I thought was well argued, and then when I submitted it, it was a desk reject, and the professor said that your paper does not measure up to the current debate in the area. Now, the current debate meant that I had not looked at one of the journal articles, which I think had discussed some of the aspects. So I had to tweak it a little bit after reading that article, and I submitted it to another journal, and it was reviewed as a good paper. So now, but we review other people's literatures. We forget our own. And also, Dr. Bigirimana, you have given us some literature review for those of you who will be writing about marriage. So Dr. Pius, I commend you for your inexhaustible energy. You serve the judiciary with one hand and the soul of the nation with the other. May this second installment spark the fire of restoration in every home that receives it. It's now my singular honor and pleasure to officially launch Naked Truth Part 2, and may it inspire your bedrooms for God and my country.